Alright, let's watch some Triple Triad. Actually watching live this time. I am running on very little sleep and I'm not doing great, but we'll see what we can see. Um, Importantly, same plus random combo, so no plus wall. Let's see which directions they control each other in. Smokes has a 7 up, that's untouchable. He has a 6 to the right, that's beaten. So Turdz wins going left to Smokes' right, but we're looking from Smokes' perspective because he has first turn. Smokes has a 6 left, that's untouchable. And Smokes has a 5 down, that's beaten. So they each have kind of two directions, but Turdz has the advantage there because Turdz is 2.5, right? They're neutral, Turdz right, Smokes left. Smokes wins going with his up card, but that's a card you'd kind of want to get rid of. Smokes does immediately make the game headed up. And I think this might be a difficult card for Turds to take super comfortably. Both of their first two games were basically without plus wall, captures can be so clunky, and also on level 3 that both of them immediately attacked the starter because it was difficult to take it back in a useful manner. Now, here, I'm assuming 5633, or if possible, 4544 is generally Smoke's recapture, right? He has two different cards that can take both ways, but probably doesn't want to use 5516 in at least in either 2 or 6, because that 6 is going to be hard to recapture. Okay. If we're Turds, do we have captures we're excited about? Man, my brain is not working. So we're going to stay probably on a pretty abstract level rather than talking about specific moves today, because I don't know if my brain can handle specifics at the moment. So that said, if we see something like... I guess there's not quite a way to do it. If you could play 6444 twice, I was thinking if you stick that in 2, do you cover most of the recaptures in 6, and you'd still cover 2, but you wouldn't cover 7252. But you might not need to cover 7252 and 6, because you can flip that from 5 and lock it in 6, because there's nothing that can beat that 5. Though 5516 is going to be a sweeper on the bottom at the end there. So there's also go in 5. I tend to not particularly like going in 5, but I don't think it would be too bad here. It's really hard for Smokes to build out a lot of safety here. So if you were going to go 5, which card would you want to do? Maybe 3653 and 5. Just maximum combo potential for you. It does give Smokes a plus in 6, but... there's 1266 and 2, which some players would really like. It is weak to 7252, but 7252 definitely shouldn't take it immediately from 5, because that gives up a combo in 6. It might be something Turdz would like to do. He's been liking kind of next to strong moves more and more. You really want it to be, if you play in somewhere like 2, the reason I'm picking 2 over 6 is you really want it to be weak facing. If the opponent can capture, you want them to have to capture from 5, because going in 5 usually leaves lots of options. Here it leaves the same, but, other captures as well. So if you're going to have it weak to a corner and they go in the corner, in general, the L is, or allowing an L is less of a concession from first turn than having to go in 5 early. So I could see 1266 being played. Though if Smokes has a big... Smokes probably goes 6 there. Say 4544. Doesn't give him 5 though. I could see 2 being a good move. And he has picked up 1266. But he goes 5. So, interesting card to put in 5. Gives the same possibility in 6, which is really nice, quite powerful, given that it is not quite safe, but the only recapture is 7, 2, 5, 2, and 9, and you're very happy to play like 4, 3, 4, 7, and 8. I also think in general, getting rid of the card, part of the reason I was a little drawn to 2, was getting rid of the card that has the least power facing the action, his real value. So I think think this makes quite a bit of sense. It also means if Smokes tries to play a big combo setup in 7, it's obviously only dangerous in a combo facing 4 and 8, and that's pretty easy to work around. That's not where the action is, I think, likely to be. So what would we do if we're Smokes here? Well, we do have safety in 2, 5, 5, 1, 6, and 2. But this looks pretty bad, right? Turdz plays 6, say Smokes plays 9, Turdz plays 8, and Turdz is up 6-4 with 2 safeguards on board. Probably winning for Turdz there. So I don't think you want to force the action here. Turdz has nice control facing those squares and facing away from the squares that will be occupied. So can we do this more usefully? My instinct here is go 4. But that 4-3-4-7 is a problem. Maybe 8. Maybe 8 makes more sense. Alright, he does go 8. Interesting. So he has good control over 9. It is close to safe. That's pretty valuable. It's a little scary that Turdz has the same in 6, because if you ever go in 2, you might walk into a really unpleasant combo. But this makes sense, right? This makes sense. Okay, some default moves for Turdz, 6, 4, 4, 4, and 7. If that happens, I would guess Smokes is ready to go 9. Yeah, I would think 9 is actually a really nice response there. Something like 7, 2, 5, 2, and 9. And now it's 5, 5. If Turdz goes 6, he goes up 6, 4. Smokes goes 2. He goes up 6, 4, and he wins. Unless Turdz somehow still has 4, 5, 6, 2 in his hand. So they're probably ties there because he can put other cards in 6, I guess. But that's dangerous for Turdz. I don't think you want to go 7. You can also, of course, go 2, just checking safety moves first. 4, 3, 4, 7 in 2. And then Smoke's got to keep 7, 2, 5, 2. Got to. Maybe got to use up 4, 5, 4, 4. Say 4, 5, 4, 4 in 1. I suspect holds. But that's a reasonable option for Turdz. I think that should just about hold. I think 5, 6, 3, 3 will be just good enough to hold the tie there at the end. You start 9. There's nothing really to start 9. You don't really have that much appeal starting 6, because that cuts your own combo square. Seto and the AIs, but Seto much better, often finds moves in 1 here. Akiyama plays moves in 4 more than you'd expect. But I think in general you're probably choosing between 2 and 7. I would guess. I don't think I'm a particularly good player at handling the J's in general. I think that's a weakness of mine. But that said, I don't think this is all that difficult to J to play. I think Turdz is a little better here. I think this is advantage second turn, and the question is, can you find a move that applies enough pressure, you have winning chances. I think you're probably not. I think there's very low chance that there's a forced win here. But the question is, can you put Smokes in a difficult spot? My guess is the best option for that is 4-3-4-7 in 2. But I do think Snow, 4-5-4-4 and 1 should hold there. It's my estimation. But again, no claims to be seeing things all that well today. Anything happening in the Discord? Yes, something very important happened. This is going to be forever ago for you, but the Zidane finals happened, winners finals, and Kaus won, but had a semi-rare in his hand because he card selects, and you know what the rares are by appearance, but it's easy to forget which cards are semi-rares. So that will be replayed. His strategy for the rematch, I have heard, is to win it. So, good strategy. I think Turdz' hand won in a bunch of directions, but Smokes has done a really good job. Turdz does play too, of both keeping the card in his hand that feels 7-2-5-2 always feels like a weak card to me, but keeping what feels like a weak card in his hand while directing the game appropriately for it. So my suspicion was that 4-5-4-4 and 1 tied. And my sort of reasoning for that is if Smokes plays 7, if Turdz plays 7, he doesn't capture anything. If he plays 4, he either doesn't capture, in which case 5-6-3-3 will run neutral with that card because it won't capture either, or doesn't have to capture, though some of the cards it does, but it will run at least even with a non-capture in 4. And if there is a capture in 4, then that must be with 6-4-4-4, and 5-6-3-3 can go even with that. And then on the right side of the board, 7-2-5-2 is guaranteed to go at least even. There's no capture in 9, and it can actually capture anything that goes in 9. And in 6, only one thing can be captured, and it can capture back. So I think it's pretty easy to count that out and just say 4-5-4-4 and 1 has to be a tie. The one question is if there's combo potential. And there's 2 ways there can be combo potential. One is 6-4-4-4 and 4, and one is 4-5-6-2 in 6. This will only matter if a flip of 5 is forced. So one question is what happens if 3-6-5-3 and 7? Because if you do play 5-6-3-3 in 4, or 7-2-5-2 in 4 actually, you flip 5 and are vulnerable to combos. However, that combo isn't enough. You do go 5-6-3-3 and 4. You flip 2 things. You go up 7-3. Combo back flips 2 things, but no more because it's the same, and you're good. But the other question is if Turdz starts in 9 and Smokes has to go 6, but he can also go 6 without flipping 5. So he can dodge these combos quite easily. So I think 4-5-4-4 and 1 should hold and should hold without too much difficulty. Like, I really like the kind of calculations where you can say, this card is for this part of the board, this card is for that part of the board, the current score is 5-5, this will go at least even here, this will go at least even here, this must hold a tie. And if we compare to another move, like, say, 5-6-3-3 and 1, we immediately see, okay, so if they go 4-5-6-2 and 4, suddenly to go even on the left, I'm going to need 7-2-5-2 because that has now flipped something. And then I need 4-5-4-4 to go even on the right, and it's just clearly not going to do that. And so I can sort of quickly do calculations that eliminate moves. Smokes goes a different direction. I should start inputting the game in my database. So let's find where in the database it goes. This is Chat Tournament 37, round 3, or round 2. And it's Sir Smokes, Turdz. Game is 4-6-4-3-3, 1-2-6-6-5, 5-5-1-6-8, 4-3-4-7-2, 4-5-4-4-6, which we still got to look at. So obvious move is 6444, 6444, yeah, in 9, making it 5-5. But then everything on board is pretty safe, and 7252 is a really powerful sweeper there. Is it powerful enough to win? Probably not, because 5633 is pretty garbage. So this seems another comfortable way to tie. Not the structural one, but one that forces the action. Can Turdz do something clever? What would constitute something clever? If you could go, for instance, in 1, setting up a combo threat in 4, but even if you could... No, if you could, that would be pretty powerful, because 4 through 5 flips 8, which means it covers 9. Smokes wouldn't be able to play safely in 9. On the other hand, I do not see a move there that does that. And 9's never going to be that great a square. Yeah, I think this was a nice way for Smokes to clarify the position, and probably just a cleaner option than the one I was saying. I like calculating the structural version. It's weird. Out of these setups, I play, out of kind of 2, 3, 5, 8, I play in 6 quite a lot in closed with good results, and not that often in open. And it's the kind of move that is such a sort of structural concession, often, conceding cards taken in the safe part of the board, that you'd think it would be a type of move I would use far more in open than closed, because it's going to rely on specifics, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Apologies if sound just got super loud for a sec. I saw it shooting to the red, but I'm not sure why it did. I don't have my normal mic today, and volume levels might be off. Turdz does capture, and I think yeah, 7, 2, 5, 2, 1. Grabbing safety, everything is safe. No plus wall to mess with anything. Not that plus wall would change anything in this position. And Turdz will presumably now play 4, 5, 6, 2 in either square. It's always fun when you can pick up a card and mouse slip it, and it just won't matter as long as you pick the right card. I had a really scary moment recently playing Clan League, I think, where I clicked a square to reload the page, but then thought, like, wait a second, I already picked up the card, because I had considered picking up a card at some point, and thought I had just played it in a just horrible random square. And I had not, so good for me. Are they going to keep going? We'll see. Solid first game, or I guess it's the third game of the match, but first game of this viewing. Yeah, I think Turdz found a way to apply a little pressure, and Smokes clarified it well. And I think clarifying well is a huge talent. I never mean that as a kind of negative. I think, you take the positions and you find the cleanest way to make it not dangerous for you. All right, Smokes has already picked up a card. That said, let's look a little at directions. Smokes is winning both left and right and up. But very bad going down. So Smokes has tons of capturing power as long as the game isn't going down. So I suspect he's picked up something to drop on the top row. He has not, and maybe I should have predicted this because he had a 6-6 corner in his hand he didn't pick up that it's safe. This is likely to be a very dangerous position for Turdz. Smokes has all the captures and has safety, right? So I guess the first thing to do, though presumably Smokes checked it, is there a setup in 5? So the first card needs a 2 facing down, doesn't have it. The next card needs a 7, doesn't have it. The next card needs a 4 facing down, does have it. Does 3, 4, 4, 5, and 5 set up both ways? It does not. The next card needs a 2, doesn't have it. The next card needs a 5, doesn't have it. All right, there's not going to be any double setups. This is going to be a pretty miserable game for Turdz. That said, what can we do? One move that jumps out as potentially appealing. Nope, that's a bad move. Oh God, this is not good. Sorry if it just went really loud again, but this is not good. Keep my voice down a bit. Maybe I'll turn down the volume slightly. But everyone says my videos are too quiet, so maybe we'll just leave it as it is. Hmm. Man. You want the game going down. So what if you started with 2636 and 7? My idea is I create a threat in 8, which I think will force the blocking of 8. And then I have some options to go in 4, and hopefully I can create... Can't really even create threats in 5 there if you stick a 6 or 7 up. Oh man. Okay, next option is something in the opposite corner. That doesn't feel very good here. Do you want the game up, down, or side to side? If so, going in 2 or 4 can force the game appropriately. Now, I think an adjacent corner is the type of move that we should be looking for. I wish you could play 4-6-1-6 twice, because then maybe you stick 1 and 6, and that covers the capture from 5. So it's almost safe, or would be effectively safe, but you don't have that coverage. Unless you have a big setup there, but the big setup there is never going to be good. I don't know. This looks pretty horrendous for Turdz. I will be very impressed if he holds this. Like, Smokes fundamentally, next turn, can just drop another 6-6 safe corner. And his side-to-side 7s are just gonna capture something in the endgame. It's really tough. So I'm very curious to see what Turdz does. I think he has a really nice record of defending some bad randoms. But can he do it here? Seems really unlikely. And Smokes, I think, is quite good at converting randoms like this. There are definitely players who kind of, the random quality matters more and the random quality matters less. And I think Smokes is better attacking the advantage side of a random than defending the disadvantage side of a random. Right? I think like he's a more clinical or destructive converter of advantages than he is a defender of disadvantage. Though we saw him defend nicely last game. This is not to say he's bad at either. On the other hand, I think Turdz, um, there's arguments both ways on Turdz. I have a lot more stats on Turdz. Turdz has had some really nice defenses. All right, that's a very interesting move we'll get to in a sec. Turdz has played some really strong defenses of very difficult randoms against really top flight opponents. He also had some of the best clinical rates in some of my early measures, but my more recent measures have not had him closing out his winning positions as well. So I'm not sure what to make of him there. All right. So Smokes could just play an 8, right? 6-3-2, 6 and 8. Just say, yeah, whatever. This is fine. 4-4-2-7 and 3 is also an option. There you have to check if there's a double setup in 5, but there isn't. It's not that scary. So that's very appealing. 8 is very appealing. You don't have 5. I guess that's the one downside. But if you block 8, you do threaten 5. So A lot of appealing options. I think if 8, Turdz' idea is to go 3. And say, I think I can run you out enough of rightward power. You'll probably want to use your 2745 next, and if so, I'll just flip that back and you'll have some issues going right. I think that's the idea, but I think if he goes 8 and Turdz goes 3, Smokes probably just plays like he's gone 6-3-2-6 and 8. Turdz plays, I don't know, 2-6-3-6 and 3. I think Smokes should just play 7-5-3-1 and 7. And I don't really know what Turdz does next. He does go 8. I was going to say, I think that probably works, but 3 is maybe still even more appealing. But 3 gives Turdz at least some chance to lock something in. They're both very strong, hard to evaluate without doing extensive calculations, which most people aren't going to do. So instead, I guess it should be picked on instinct, and I'm not sure which way my instinct goes. I first wanted to hold on to 4427 just because I thought it was kind of guaranteed to flip at some point, but the way the game is directed, I think that's not so true. 6326 is more likely to be able to find safety than 4427 is, because anything where its backside is covered, it's safe, while 4427 must have only left facing to be safe. So I think my instinct might have been 4427 and 3. I had a recent game against Turdz, actually, where he had a horrendous random, and I played in a corner, and he went next to it, much like this, and I had the choice, it was rotated, but between 3 and 8, and I ended up going 8, and then immediately after the move regretting not going in the equivalent of 3, and it turned out I missed a win, and he defended nicely from there, really nice defense from him, and I should have gone 3. And I think a sort of similar kind of reasoning of 8 gives him some things at least he can do on the board, but I think 8 should be good enough here. I still think this is, if it's defensible, kind of a nightmare of a defense. You can play safely in 7. That's actually probably a better idea than the one I had. So if you go safely in 7, Smokes goes safely in 3. He has very good sweepers for that endgame. Like, even without calculating, it seems tough. Seems tough. He has quite little going down, though. Maybe you can do something with that. But your cards don't even recapture themselves that well. All right, so let's say 7-3-1-4 and 7, 4-4-2-7-3, 3-4-4-5-5. Oh, that gives up 4-4-2-7 and 4 though. If it didn't, I could see it holding with some kind of line being 2-7-4-5-2, 4-6-1-6-4, and 4-4-2-7 is dead at the end. Oh, but they don't have 4-4-2-7 in their hand. They have 7-5-3-1. 7-5-3-1 is dead in their hand as well. But 7-5-3-1 also has the plus in 4 if you go 3-4-4-5 and 5. So, getting confused on the cards, but it shouldn't matter. Now against me in the equivalent scenario, Turdz played 4. And fundamentally he played 4 such that I didn't have a good play in the equivalent of 7, and he had something in 5. Can he repeat the idea here? Well, the similar idea would be 7-3-1-4 there, but I don't think that works. I really don't think that works. But maybe it does. 7-3-1-4 and 4. Where do you go? Maybe you just don't touch anything. You go like 3 or something. You got to hold on to 2-7-4-5 there, because that's your card for 7. So you play like 4-4-2-7-3. Yeah, that's probably enough. I was thinking if Turdz goes 4 here, Turdz goes 5. Well, he is building out things close to safety. But I think, like, just. So, say smokes go 7, 5, 3, 1, and 7, right? And you go safely in 4. You've kind of done something Doom Train likes to do, where you've given up the actually safe row, but your row actually is enough facing in a direction you're safe anyway. Doom Train has held so many ties doing this, where like 7, 8, 9 are his opponents, but 4, 5, 6 are his, and it's actually fine. He's very good at spotting positions where that's fine. They're the kind of position I intuitively just never go near, but they can work. And he's very good at spotting that. Here, however, I think that just doesn't work. So 7, 5, 3, 1, 7, 7, 3, 1, 4, 4. The problem is 4, 4, 2, 7, and 3. And because that creates a threat for 2, 7, 4, 5, and 2 hitting 5, you're forced to block 2, and you can't capture anything, and 2, 7, 4, 5 can. So if smokes goes 7, you can't go something like 1. Smokes just goes 4 and keeps a sweeper. And you can't go something like 2. So you really got to go 3. You need 3 to work. And 3 doesn't work because Smokes takes it. So 7 should be the one here. And I think Smokes is going a different route. There may also be multiple wins. This was a really horrendous random for Turdz. Smokes starts in 3. Now, I've seen Smokes getting winning positions out of this block of kind of hero cards in 5, 6, 8, and 9, and have a choice between 1, 3, and 7, like this one, and make the wrong choice. So we should check this, but it does seem pretty straightforward. If Turdz goes 2, Smokes then goes 7, 5, 3, 1, and 7, and 2, 7, 4, 5 is guaranteed to capture. That will win. If Turdz goes safely himself in 7, Smokes now has the same in 2, and that's just going to be devastating. There's no way to play combo stuff in 1. Yeah. Nice win by Smokes. Nicely converted. But really, really bad random for Turdz. I'm going to boot up the old solver, and I think there's a good chance this was just lost, right? Like, not just like, that was a tough position, but this was just lost from the start, and there was nothing to be done. And I'm curious. Maybe you are too. Right, we put in the blue hand. Now the red hand, 6136, 6326, 7531, 4427, 2745. What a powerhouse of a hand. Let's make sure we have the rules right. No walls. And I will boot that up in the background here. Sorry if clicks are loud. Again, not my normal microphone setup. So after 6, 1, 3, 6, and 9, does Turdz have a tie? This is the question. And the answer is yes. The solver immediately identifies a tie. But I still suspect this is a massive nightmare. And we'll see what it says. It's always funny when you're like, this position's definitely lost, and the first move the solver looks at as it like randomly goes through the moves is a tie. Oh, incredible. Turd's move is a tie. 4, 3, 6, 5, and 6 was a tying move. But I think he didn't, his move in 5 wasn't the right follow-up. I don't know where it would have been. I didn't have an instinct here I felt was strong. My final idea was 4, but I didn't think it worked. So the solver doesn't think this was nearly as dangerous as I did. It's giving a little under half moves as tying, looks like. Take a little while to finish, but it's running pretty fast actually, given I have recording going. Usually that really slows it down. Now it's heading towards more than half moves time. Curious. I don't think I'd have defended this very well. I think this is a tougher defense than the solver is giving. It's just so rough when the opponent has safety and then more safety whenever they want it. And he had Turdz beaten in so many directions. This is difficult for me to wrap my head around. I'll do some test lines to make sure it has the rules right, but yeah, it says half moves tie, half moves lose. So Turdz plays 6. And this should be very good for Turdz. Smokes, I thought, had a pleasant choice between 3 and 8. I mean, this should be no good for Turdz, right? But the solver says it's a tie. Smokes went 8, and Turdz has 2 ties. And it was 7. Okay, so 7, 3, 1, 4, and 7 was a tie. And I thought 4, 4, 2, 7, and 3 should be good enough there. But there's 2 ties. They're not easy to see at distance. Okay, I do see it now looking at the actual position, or I see one of them. One of them's in 2, which is just really hard to see locking in your opponent's card. We have a few more moves in the actual game. I know I didn't show you the solver screen, but I thought you'd want to stay on the actual game. But okay, needed to find 7. That's rough. What if Smokes had gone 3 instead of 8? Was that trickier? Also 2 ties, and they were in 1 and 7. So when there's cards in 3, 6, and 9, and the only ties are in 1 and 7, that is harder. So I do think we can say pretty objectively 3 was the better move. But 8 was also just very, very strong. And Smokes converted this nicely, and Turdz just had a really difficult random where technically the solver says half his moves are ties, but pretty clearly after those moves he has to start finding very narrow paths. For instance, one of its other ties, so Turdz played 4, 3, 6, 5 in 6, but one of his other moves was 4, 3, 6, 5 in 1. And if we have Smokes play in 8 with 6, 3, 2, 6, Turdz has only 1 tie and it's in 6. That's a nightmare to find. If Smokes plays the same card in 6, Turdz has only 1 tie, it's in 2. That's slightly more plausible. No, that's really hard to find, the specific move here. Yeah. So I think this is one of those spots where the solver doesn't immediately tell you how incredibly difficult this position is. But Turdz found a non-losing move first turn, which is already really strong, but couldn't find the best chance continuation from there. And Smokes played really high pressure with a really strong hand. So Smokes advances to the semifinals, where he will face Reye, and the winner will face Delial.